Well, now we know that Alpha's always been messed up. Good to know. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, Geek Chic, and we are back with another reaction to Tales of the Walking Dead. We're now into episode 3, which is called D. So, last episode was a very funny and very interesting episode with two characters who seem to be living in some weird infinite loop of almost dying at the hands of each other, kind of, if we think about it, before they finally learn to work together and survive this infinite loop to go forward. We have no idea if they were successful, but we certainly hope so. And again, we know that with this series, everything is canned episodes, so there's really no relation from one episode to the next that we've seen so far. And I don't think I've seen any real link between any of these characters and anything we've seen in the Walking Dead series yet, but who knows? I might be missing some things and no one's let me know yet. So I'm thinking that maybe so far everything is kind of independent. But either way, I'm enjoying the series so far. It's a lot of fun to kind of see these different takes on how they would handle the apocalypse. The girls from last episode clearly did not deal with it well because they were too busy kind of worrying about each other than the effect that they were having on their own success by kind of getting back at each other. But this episode, it looks like we're only going to be dealing with one character instead of two. So I'm interested to see more about the story of Dee, and I'm going to jump right in. But before I do, if this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I do reactions to show like these here. So if you're interested in watching me do that, please think about hitting that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you know when I do more reactions. I also react to the original Walking Dead 2, which is coming back very soon. So if that's your bag, please join the fam. We'd love to have you. I'd also appreciate it if you threw some love to the like button as well if you are liking this video. And the same goes for those of you who've been here before. Thank you so much for coming back. Please do join the fam if you haven't already and show love for this video if you're feeling it. All right, that out of the way, guys, let's get into episode 3. Sorry, right about now.
I have a bunch of little kids.
Damn. Someone tells her it's the booty call.
I need to go shopping again.
That's all she has to say to that. Wow. As soon as she got out of that bed, the feelings turned right off. Ew. Oh, God. That would just ruin my whole trip. Yeah, let's not take in the view.
Next time I go shopping, I'll bring you with me. Oh, you look nice.
Alpha!
Your options were slim.
It's Alpha!
It's clear.
Mama don't like that. We already know Mama don't like when people get close to her daughter. Not the way this dress doesn't fit at all. That's right. Let it all hang.
I almost feel young again.
By getting drunk? I guess.
No offense, but you kind of look like shit.
Huh?
No, sorry. Somebody's got to say it.
Well, you haven't earned the right.
Just give me my damn drink.
You know how many people would kill to be here?
Huh. Fun you should use that word.
I came for Lydia.
Why is she sitting over there?
Okay, it is Lydia. I thought Lydia was younger. So this must have happened after what happened when her dad died? Must be in between then. Because Lydia was very young in that one, like still being carried young.
Dee, did you turn the lights off?
Interesting that D is another letter, right? If you think about it. Alpha, A, B, beta, D.
I would. I think you're setting her expectations too high.
Poor Lydia.
Lydia is a sweet girl. Okay, she deserves more than this.
No weapons on board.
I was 9 when I killed Daddy.
Why did you tell us that?
Daddy deserved it.
Okay. Well, now we know that Alpha's always been messed up. Good to know. Makes me wonder, like, how she even got her husband in the first place.
Then the world fell apart, and I got stuck in a basement with Lydia's dad, Frank.
And you killed him. We know.
Come on, everybody! Move those bodies!
Really? You know, actually, you know what? I was going to get mad, but I'm like, you know what? Y'all do need to keep your fitness up because you got to outrun them walkers, you know?
He was gone doing rounds this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Dee, did you see Mr. Langston after room checks?
Ask Billy. He was serving him.
She said what she said. The thing is with Alpha is that if she actually killed him, she would have just told her. Straight up.
Look, I know this is awful, but we're low on fuel, and the next depot we have a lead on more is 40 clicks. We need to get going.
It sucks, but she's not wrong. I mean, in an apocalypse, you gotta be careful about getting drunk, you know? Knew your ass was around here. I felt it. Did you do it, D? Did you do it? Or maybe he did it and Alpha knows he did.
I can save you. See, I won't let it get you.
I have Brooke.
Great. You just sentenced Brooke to death. Damn it, Lydia.
Who's out there?
What are you talking about?
Brooke!
He does look shady now.
He was signaling someone offshore with a mirror.
Oh, she's nuts. I don't have a mirror. You can pat me down if you want.
He dropped it in the water when I caught him. You were the last person to see Mr. Langston, too.
Oh, you serious?
That's a big accusation, Dee.
Oh my gosh. It's getting awkward. Uh-oh.
She wants to kill me. She's gonna kill me. She's got a knife.
Billy!
No.
She's crazy. She's got a knife.
Billy!
Why would he jump?
So that's why Lydia's afraid of you.
Oh. Oh, wow. She's not lying, but...
I mean, the dead, the snakes, and the gators, he's never gonna make it out of this swamp.
Which should already be our indicator. Why would he jump in the water? There was enough people there to hold Alpha back.
I tried to repent.
No, you didn't.
I tried.
You didn't.
You don't understand.
No, because she's sane.
Everything's okay.
Really?
Mama's okay.
Really? Put the knife down then.
And I'm the only one who can keep her alive and make sure she keeps herself alive.
For what kind of life?
She don't care.
Next time I swing this knife, lay your head.
Let me guess. It's the bartender.
Hello to you too, Milton. Yes, I am okay. Yes, I survived the bayou. Thank you so much for asking.
No one cares. You jumped.
Dee. Where is Dee? Lydia.
Dee took Lydia on a run.
Todd.
Bye, Todd.
You're pretty much perfect.
You?
But you're too nice. You give people too much credit. I don't want you to change. I like the package.
Ew. Boundaries.
I'll take care of the harder things. You can't.
Knew that was coming.
These are good people. You know us. You've been with us.
Look, it's them or me.
No, it's not.
You, them. 1,000% then.
I mean, I know I've ruined some niceties today.
God.
Some things will have to change, but you will.
He's crazier than D. How's that possible?
We'll keep this place safe, so nothing like this ever happens again.
I mean, at least he won't turn now.
Take Jenna. She never volunteers for the hard chase. She really buys me on the schedule.
Bullshit! You post on Brooke.
Now you need to shut. Now you need to shoot him.
Sacrifice a little girl.
Do it myself. That's her.
Mayhem! Mayhem! Everywhere Alpha goes. Aren't there walkers in the water that are just gonna swim towards the boat now?
Those people turned on us. They turned on you.
They did. They folded like cheap chairs.
No one's coming to save us.
And so quickly ended life on the riverboat. But Lydia, girl, I'm gonna need you to stop screaming, girl. Shh. I will give this to Alpha though. She's strong as shit. Get under here. Oh my God. You know what? Unfortunately, she did need her mom in the beginning. Shh. This will help moisturize your skin. The worst lullaby ever.
I won't let it get you. I won't let it get you.
It's both disturbing and comforting at the same time. Yuck.
Close your eyes.
How's she supposed to be careful with her eyes closed? Who's that? Who made it? Was it Brooke? Brooke looks hardy, actually. You gonna go kill Brooke now because you're jealous? Alpha never did like anybody who got close to her daughter.
No!
Move. Lydia, move.
She took more from you than you'll ever know, baby. Now move!
No!
Good girl.
Lydia, the tattooed lady. She has eyes so folks in torso, and a torso even more so.
Yeah, you've already broken her beyond repair, Alpha.
Whispers too, and proudly above.
You're calling the walkers. Can you please sing quieter?
You're right. I'm not gonna kill her. I'm gonna hurt her, baby. You hold your bunny. I'll put the gun away.
You'll just stab her. So many other ways you could kill someone.
Death was too forgiving for you.
Jealous. So jealous. Because Lydia said she was beautiful. All right, Brooke, you're going to have to pick yourself up, sis. You're not going to make it.
I want to go back to the boat.
Hun, there's nothing there.
Daddy says it's safer with people.
Mm-hmm. She never forgot him.
You have to learn to survive without people.
Doesn't work. Never, ever worked. That's why you ended up getting beheaded.
But I'm all you've got,
For
and I
now.
will not fail you again.
Where's my daddy?
I killed him so long ago. I like that Lydia was on it from a long time before. This was always the very hard thing to take with Alpha, because it's true that Lydia would have definitely died on her own, but what she put Lydia through, though. This twisted sense of loyalty, her way of showing love was so toxic for Lydia. There's definitely children that would have thrived under Alpha, but Lydia was not it. Are you at least gonna let her have that? Or is that too human?
Maybe we can have our own party. Huh, Lydia?
Lydia? Oh, she's Batman.
You move behind me.
Lydia doesn't even care anymore. It's so sad that she was like this for so young.
It's time to show you how to survive. You're gonna watch me, watch and learn, okay?
She's not wrong. You do have to learn how to do this.
Mama, I can't!
Shh.
You have to.
I don't want to!
You definitely have to because you're so loud.
I said I can't!
She won't.
Lydia!
The two of y'all are so damn loud, I can't. This is such an interesting thing because it's so easy to be mad at Alpha, but at the same time, you understand what she's trying to do. She's just doing it all the wrong way with Lydia.
We do what we think is right. Even if it hurts the ones we love.
Not quite the right way to go about it. I love how they're showing the shadowed, like, Alpha that we knew just in, you know, in between telling from her side of the story.
Don't you ever run away from me again, do you hear me?
Oh, I will.
The trees, Mama, they're talking. The fairies. They want me, Mama. They want to take me away. Please let me go. Please. I want to go.
You're breaking her. Are you satisfied?
I've been so selfish.
Yeah, and yet.
So scared of this world without you. And I never thought about you in this.
And the way you forgot over and over again. But I do believe that. I've always said, I know that Alpha loved her, but her love was just so toxic. And it wasn't right for Lydia. Because she could have let her go when she was old enough, right? She really could have let her go.
This ain't no place for a child.
Oh. Because what happened in the future was definitely the place for her, huh? It's interesting, though, because the Alpha we saw in Walking Dead was not this sentimental. But then again, because Lydia got older. But knowing that she had, or felt that she had to kill her own father at the age of 9, that says a lot about Alpha and how she felt like survival was necessary. Everything was very all or nothing for her.
But I would have killed the both of us.
Oh? She heard the trees? Or was this when the dead first talked to her?
See? Trees.
The Whisperers! The first...
Who's there?
Here, I thought Alpha started it and she just joined the gang and took over.
What do you want?
Learned.
I'm Hera.
Hi, Hera.
Don't speak. Whisper.
Ah!
That was the end of D
Clearly.
and the beginning of me.
This terrible, terrible monster. Like she said, that was her true nature.
You showed me love.
Oh, this is where she kills Hera? All right. Well, guys, that was episode 3 of Tales of the Walking Dead, and we got the backstory on Alpha, aka D. What an interesting way to tell her story, and I never really thought much about it because honestly, Alpha was a character that I found, I was going to say annoying, but she really was a good villain, a very interesting villain in many ways. And in The Walking Dead, we didn't really get a chance to know much about her past. The only insight we got into her was via Lydia, and that was in a flashback that kind of led us to how Lydia ended up out there on her own. But again, we didn't get all of it, right? We just got what happened as far as Alpha killing her father, not her father. Well, we'll find out she did kill her father, but killing Lydia's father, and then leaving kind of the safety of that basement where they all were. And that was kind of the beginning of us seeing her say that she basically thought that anyone who still believed that there was a chance that civilization or community in this world were the ones that were wrong and that her way was right. So obviously there was a huge gap in, from when that happened. Because like I said, Lydia was a baby, like maybe 2-3 years old in that flashback to this riverboat. And then again, to when we saw her in Walking Dead when she was a teenager, like there was a lot of years in between that we didn't see what happened. So I like that this episode really gave us a little bit of insight into what kind of happened in the middle of all that. Because again, I didn't know from the way that the Walking Dead showed it, one could assume that she became Alpha almost immediately after what she did in that basement, right? Killing your partner is a pretty huge step into evil territory, but it looks like there was a gradual decline for her as far as her mental health and her grasp on what reality should be. And I find it interesting that we found out that she, as I mentioned before, took her own father's life, and we didn't get any details as to why. She just simply said it had to be done. And for a child of that age to do something like that to what I'm assuming was her only parent, because there's no mention of a mama, I'm assuming that that father was probably abusive or maybe doing things to her. Who knows? Like something was probably very wrong for a 9-year-old to be prompted to take out her only family. But seeing that that was her response to a traumatic event, right? Because if you are so betrayed by your parent that you feel like the only way out you have is to take their life, I would say that's a pretty valid, I think you could validly believe that that would break your sense of trust in the world, right? Because your parents or whoever raises you is your first insight into humanity, into the way the world works, into how love works, relationships. Like there's parents or caregivers play a massive role in all of our lives and how we view the world going forward. So for her to, like I said, get to a place where she felt so insecure with her father that she thought that his life ending was the only way forward, she clearly, I think at that point, lost all faith in humanity for the most part. But somewhere in there, she fell in love, or at least felt vulnerable enough to get with Lydia's father and to have a child. And I think when she had Lydia, that was a little bit of that desperate need for connection, that desperate need for having someone that was, she used the term mine like repeatedly in The Walking Dead, and now in this episode around Lydia's mine, like referring to her almost like an object and not even a person, just like she's mine. You can't take her, she's mine. And I think that all stems back to whatever broken emotional part of her still craves a family and still craves connection, but doesn't trust it enough to let it happen, right? Because to love someone, to truly love someone and have a relationship with them, you have to be vulnerable. You have to allow yourself to let your walls down so that you can let that love in, but that also means you can be hurt. And clearly Alpha was all about not getting hurt, right? Things had to be on Alpha's terms all the time. So Lydia was the exception, right? Because again, for most people, giving birth to a child is a bond that it's so unique and it truly is unbreakable. It really is. Even if you have to walk away from it, it is an unbreakable bond. And it was for Alpha. And we saw by the time she got to Walking Dead that she considered it to be a weakness. Her love for Lydia, the fact that she'd be willing to risk everything for Lydia, the fact that she was soft and vulnerable for Lydia is what scared her, and she didn't want to be that way, but at the same time, she loved her. And I do think that somewhere in that twisted mind of hers, she wanted to be the mother that could be the kind that Lydia wanted, right? The loving, kind, tender, caregiving type of mom. But again, like she was so broken from so long ago, she didn't know how to balance protecting herself from being hurt with being a loving mother. And that's why she felt like she had to do what she did, right? To create a situation where Lydia could never leave her, right? Because her father, that's the real reason Lydia's dad died, was because Lydia said she wanted to stay with her dad. And in Alpha's mind, that was, oh, you're taking that connection away from me. This connection that I've said is mine, so I got to get rid of you. And then we saw again in this series with this with Brooke on the riverboat. Brooke was showing kindness and structure and the kind of world that Lydia clearly wanted and clearly craved. And she was pulling away from Alpha, but not even because she wants to pull away from her as a mother, but pulled away from her because of that coldness, because of that lack of just seeing who Lydia really was. And of course, D/Alpha saw that as a threat to their connection. And so from that point, like, Brooke was marked, you know what I'm saying? I was like, damn it. Although in the end, thank goodness, she ended up saving her life by freaking out and having a mental breakdown at the idea of having her killed. But digressing, it kind of shows, like I said, the difference between Lydia and the way her mother is and how different she really is from Alpha in every way. I keep calling her Alpha because that's what she's always going to be to me. Sorry. But you look at Lydia, who's seen a lot of trauma since she was much younger from this. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because, I mean, like I said, whatever triggered D to, patricide was probably pretty huge. But Lydia's probably been exposed to just as much trauma as her mother did. In fact, probably more because the entire world went to hell in a handbasket while she was a child. Yet the fact that despite all of that, Lydia was still someone who went towards love and kindness and, embracing and vulnerability. Like the fact that she didn't let that change her into a hardened, terrible person, like that she didn't allow it to break her mentally and emotionally the way that it did her mom, shows so much about how different they are. And like I said, like Alpha definitely had strengths that helped keep Lydia alive. And like, we saw in that riverboat, the fact that she saw through that bartender immediately and knew that something was up with him. Like she definitely had survival skills that Lydia's, bless her altruistic nature was refusing to see about people. Like it definitely kept her protected. But at the same time, we see that Lydia still chose to have faith in humanity and have faith in the idea of love and support and community and realizing that she needed those things, whereas Alpha just could not do that, right? So to me, I looked at it as two different types of strength, right? Like Alpha was definitely a strong woman. Like we have to give her props where it's due. To survive the way she did for as long as she did and to keep Lydia alive was no joke. But her main weakness was the fact that she didn't realize you do need people in this world. People are truly loyal to you and not just serving you out of fear. Whereas Lydia, her strength was in holding on to who she really was and holding on to her beliefs despite having such a domineering, crazy, determined force like her own mother trying to forcefully shape and change her all the time. So I just kind of like how they're showing the parallels between those two and how it's been there since Lydia was a kid, that inner strength that I'm pretty sure her father probably had too, and just how it always clashed with the way that Alpha saw the world. And interestingly, when we saw that she was there at the end thinking that she might just take the both of them out instead of continuing, because I do think in that moment, Dee genuinely felt bad that she had reduced her daughter to this girl who was now slipping into a delusion rather than dealing with how hard life would be with her mother like this. I do think in that moment, Dee genuinely felt horrible for what she'd done as far as pushing her to that point, even though she didn't think she was wrong, right? Like she never thought she was wrong in what she was doing with Lydia, but that I do believe she loved her and she hated seeing her hurt like that. And she hated knowing that she was the cause of it. But because she couldn't think of any other way to be, she would have rather died there with her daughter than continue with letting her daughter, grow up in a different way. But then we saw that the actual Whisperers, like, I don't know why I thought that Alpha started it, but she just joined and took over, like I said. But yeah, it looks like the Whisperer's intervention is really what ended up saving Lydia's life. So very interesting to see how that all played out and how, considering the fact that the Whisperers showed her mercy, as she said at the end, and in the end, she ended up taking out their leader and not ever extending said mercy after that, is a very interesting ploy. But I like the way she said it there, where she said Dee died that day. Like the days of me trying to be someone that Lydia wanted me to be and who I thought I intrinsically was, I couldn't keep walking that line. And then she just kind of fully entered her Alpha era. And that's kind of when, for Lydia, I think that was when she basically decided as soon as she could get away from her mother, she would do it. So interesting backstory. I really like seeing it. It's cool to see because, like I said, Alpha was such a huge presence and one of the coolest villains we've had in the Walking Dead world. And it's nice to have those little gaps filled in as to how she got to this place of becoming the person that we saw in the series eventually. So I very much enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and we will see you in the next episode.